Top 10 highest paid CEOs in the world. It is no news that CEOs make a lot of money. Well, of course, that's because they deserve it. And this is probably because they have climbed the company ladder to get that fancy office and a dedicated parking spot just for them. But in some cases, the CEO may be the founder of the company, or the company might have just been handed down to them by their parents. But being the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world doesn't imply that you are the highest paid. Let's take an example: Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world, but as a CEO, he only earns $81,840 per year as salary. In this video, we are going to take a look at the world's highest paid CEOs. Some of the names in this list may surprise you. We are going to see how they became CEO and exactly how much they earn. But then before we get started, remember to smash that like button and ring the notification bell to keep up to date with our future videos. Have you done that? Now let's move on. Number 10. Shantanu Naray. If you work in the fields where Photoshop, Adobe Premiere Pro, or Adobe Illustrator is involved, there is a great chance you pay these guys salary each time you open any of these creative softwares on your computer. He is currently the CEO of Adobe. The annual company revenue for Adobe is $11.2 billion. Shantanu Naray's total CEO compensation in 2019 was $39.1 million. The median employee salary in Adobe is $147,115. This means Shantanu Naray's salary is 266 times higher than that of the average employee. Shantanu grew up in India, where he had a bachelor's degree in electronic and communications engineering. After that, he moved to the USA, where he did his MBA at the University of California. This is how he kickstarted his career with Apple Inc., being the first giant he worked with. He then moved to Silicon Graphics as Director of Desktop and Collaborations Products. It is at Silicon Graphics that he climbed the ranks and made his name. That's how Adobe found him and offered him a job as Senior Vice President of the Worldwide Product Research in 1998. It is often said that hard work pays off, and in this case it really did. In late 2007, Shantanu Naray was promoted to the position of CEO. It was under him that Adobe rose to become a Fortune 400 company. Number 9. William McDermott. William R. Bill McDermott is an American businessman and is currently CEO of ServiceNow. Before ServiceNow, he was the CEO of the technology company SAP SE. During his tenure as co-CEO and CEO, SAP's market value increased from $39 billion to $156 billion. Bill's annual CEO compensation at ServiceNow is $41.7 million, compared to the median salary of employees in that company, which is $233,544. Bill makes 703 times the average US private sector's workers' pay. ServiceNow makes an annual revenue of $3.5 billion, so it seems paying Bill Williams this amount is definitely no problem. Bill, as a matter of fact, started business at a very young age. When he was 16, he made his first investment. He bought a deli which cost him $7,000. This investment hugely impacted his life. He studied business in college and ran the deli while going to school. It was the money from the deli he used to pay off his schooling. Wow, using your business to pay off your business school tuition. That's a cool move. After business school, he went on to go to the Northwestern University to study management, and after graduation, he went out to look for big and better jobs. He worked for Xerox for 17 years, working in different fields, before switching to be the Executive Vice President of Cyber Systems, after which he moved to become the CEO of SAP. After his success with SAP, he switched to become the CEO of ServiceNow. Wondering if the huge amount of money motivated him to switch from SAP to ServiceNow. Number 8. Lachlan Murdoch. Most of the CEOs in this list are self-made, except for Lachlan Murdoch. He is the CEO of Fox Corporation. His total CEO compensation in 2019 was $42.1 million, and the company generates annual revenue of $11.4 billion. Lachlan is born into a wealthy family. His father founded the News Corporation. Because of this, Lachlan grew up living in New York and attending school in Aspen. He went to Princeton and obtained a bachelor's degree in philosophy, even though it was clearly useless for him. At the age of 18, Lachlan Murdoch was flown to Australia to meet with his dad, where he was trained at the Daily Mirror. When he was 22, he became the general manager of Queensland newspapers. And just like his father, he grew in the media business. He became the publisher of The Australian, which is Australia's first national newspaper. In 1995, Lachlan Murdoch was appointed as the Deputy CEO of News Limited, and from then, year after year, his rank increased. In 1996, he became Executive Director. In the year 2000, he became Deputy Chief Operating Officer. He then went on to become Executive Vice President and then Chairman. He went on with his career, taking few wrong turns like making an investment in OneTel which failed. He then came back to join the family business. After a year, he became an executive chairman of 21st Century Fox. In 2019, when Disney bought Fox, he was named the CEO of Fox Corporation, where he remains to date. Number 7. Satya Nadella. If you haven't heard of Microsoft, chances are probably you're living under a rock. Satya Nadella is the current CEO of Microsoft. His 2019 CEO compensation was a whopping $42.9 million, while an average employee of that company earns $172,512 a year. Satya was born and raised in India, where he had a degree in electrical engineering. After that, he left to the United States, where he went to the University of Wisconsin. He kickstarted his career at Sun Microsystems before joining Microsoft in 1992. His role in Microsoft was key as he led most of their major projects, especially the big move to cloud computing. The cloud revenue grew from $16.5 billion to $20.3 billion under him alone. He served as Senior Vice President in Research and Development for the Online Service Division. He later became the President of the Microsoft Server and Tor Business Division, and in 2014, he became the company's CEO, the third in their history. At that time, his annual salary was $700,000, but since then it has grown. It is under him that Microsoft acquired the game company that has Minecraft, which cost them $2.5 billion. He purchased LinkedIn for $26.2 billion and GitHub for $7.5 billion. Number 6. Miguel Patricio. Miguel Patricio is perhaps the most secretive CEOs on our list. He is the CEO of Kraft Heinz. 2016, he received a CEO compensation of $43.3 million, while the median employee has a salary of $42,689, which meant that his compensation was 1,014 times higher. Born in Portugal, Miguel later on moved to Brazil for education, where he got his business degree from the University of Sao Paulo. During his career, he worked for many companies including Coca-Cola, Philips, Morris, and Johnson, working in exclusive executive roles. After working for most of these major companies, he then moved to Kraft Heinz, where he was made CEO and made some pretty good cash. Number 5. David Zaslav. Who doesn't know TV is a money maker? He is the CEO of Discovery Communications. His total 2019 CEO compensation was $45.8 million. David Zaslav was originally focused on a career in law, graduating from Boston University's School of Law and serving as an attorney for LeBoeuf, Lamb, Levy, and McRae. He switched paths and began working for NBC in the late 80s and developed both CNBC and MSNBC while with the company. He also helped develop multiple NBC affiliates including Bravo, Sci-Fi, Telemundo, USA Network A&E, the History Channel, and the Sundance Channel, to name a few. He also served as president of Cable and Domestic TV and New Media Distribution for NBC Universal. In 2007, he became the president and CEO of the Discovery Channel. Since becoming head of Discovery, he has launched multiple successful initiatives, including partnering with Oprah Winfrey to launch the Oprah Winfrey Network and developing Planet Green, the award-winning network devoted to sustainable living. Number 4. John C. Plant. He is probably the oldest CEO on our list. He has been in the business for a while. This is the CEO of Homeworth Aerospace, and where he makes huge sums of money. His 2019 CEO compensation was $51.7 million compared to the median employee salary of $55,497. He has worked in many automotive industries for many years and has always played the leading roles. He was the chairman of TRW Automotive Holdings Corporation, a UK automotive-based company where he was successful for many years. Under his leadership, TRW employed over 65,000 people in over 119 facilities. After he left TRW, He became CEO of another company, Arconic Incorporated, for 2 years. After that, he moved on to Homeworth Aerospace Inc., an aerospace company that manufactures jet engines and other aerospace components. Number 3. Lisa Su. This is the first woman on our list. She has made her way to the top in a very tough industry. She is the CEO of Advanced Micro Devices. Her total CEO compensation in 2019 was $58.5 million compared to the median employee salary of $96,874. Lisa was born in Taiwan and moved to the USA when she was just 3. She was very interested in math and technology at a very young age. She had supportive parents who fostered her learning. At the age of 10, Lisa would take part in her brother's radio-controlled cars and put them back together again. Lisa went on to go to MIT where she studied electrical engineering and she earned her master's and her PhD. Her first job was at Texas Instruments before moving to IBM where she served as vice president of their Semiconductor Research and Development Center. After great works and discoveries at IBM, she moved to Advanced Micro Devices as general manager, a semiconductor company that develops computer processors. She later on became CEO. Since Su took over as president and CEO at the chip-making company in 2014, its stock has risen from around $3 to about $55, and AMD has the top-performing stock in the S&P 500 in both 2018 and 2019. Overall, 2019 was one of AMD's strongest years as revenue, profitability, and gross margin all improved, and the company built up its portfolio of products. Number 2. Bob Swan. Bob Swan is one of the few people who has worked in every role there is. He is the current CEO of Intel. His CEO compensation in 2019 was $66.9 million compared to the median employee salary of $96,300. Bob has worked in so many roles. He worked at General Electric in senior financial roles over a period of 15 years. He became CEO of General Electric Transportation System, then the Vice President of General Electric Medical Systems in Europe. After that, he became the Vice President of Finance, then the CFO of GE Lighting. He left General Electric and became the CFO of Webvan, then became the CFO of HP, and then became the CFO of eBay. He eventually went on to become the CEO of Intel in 2018. Number 1. Sundar Pichai. The person we have all been waiting for, the highest paid CEO in the world. Sundar Pichai is the CEO of Alphabet Inc. His 2019 CEO compensation was $280.6 million. This figure is more than 4 times the amount the second highest paid CEO earns. The median employee at Alphabet Inc. earns $258,708 annually. He had an engineering degree from the Indian Institute of Technology. Then he got his MS from Stanford. Then he went on to have his MBA from the University of Pennsylvania. He started working at Google in 2004 as a material engineer where he led product management and innovation for Google Chrome. He oversaw major developments such as Gmail, Google Maps, and Android. All this made him rise even higher in ranks. In the year 2019, he became CEO of Alphabet Inc. He is described as being empathetic and thoughtful in his role as CEO. He even received a 96% approval rating from his employees, which is incredibly high. He is known for not speaking much in meetings, allowing others to speak. He only contributes only after others have spoken. There you have it for the 10 highest paid CEOs in the world. Do you think they are overpaid or this amount is fair? Do you think they should be paid even more? Please drop your opinions in the comment section below and we will do our best to reply to them. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. Until then, see you in the next video.